Some users report intense erotic imagery and sensation and utilize the drug in a ritual sexual context. Distinguish from 5-MeO-DMT. 5-MeO-DMT, a psychedelic drug structurally similar to N-DMT, is sometimes referred to as DMT through abbreviation. As a white crystalline solid, it is also similar in appearance to DMT. However, it is considerably more potent. 5-MeO or 5-MeO-DMT typically vaporized dose 5 through 20 mg, and care should be taken to differentiate between the two drugs to avoid accidental overdose. Detection in body fluids. DMT may be quantitated in blood, plasma, or urine using chromatographic techniques as a diagnostic tool in clinical poisoning situations or to aid in the medico-legal investigation of suspicious deaths. Blood or plasma DMT levels in recreational users of the drug are generally in the 10 through 30 upside down Hg/L range during the first several hours post-ingestion. Less than 0.1% of an oral dose is eliminated unchanged in the 24-hour urine of humans. Side effects. According to a dose-response study of dimethyltryptamine in humans by Rick Strassman, dimethyltryptamine dose slightly elevated blood pressure, heart rate, pupil diameter, and rectal temperature, in addition to elevating blood concentrations of beta endorphin, corticotropin, cortisol, and prolactin. Growth hormone blood levels rose equally in response to doses of DMT, and melatonin levels were unaffected. Conjecture. DMT crystal at 400x magnification. Several speculative and yet untested hypotheses suggest that endogenous DMT is produced in the human brain and is involved in certain psychological and neurological states. DMT is naturally occurring in small amounts in rat brains, human cerebrospinal fluid, and other tissues of human and other mammals. A biochemical mechanism for this was proposed by the medical researcher J.C. Calloway, who suggested in 1988 that DMT might be connected with visual dream phenomena. Brain DMT levels would be periodically elevated to induce visual dreaming and possibly other natural states of mind. A new hypothesis proposed is that in addition to being involved in altered states of consciousness, endogenous DMT may be involved in the creation of normal waking states of consciousness. it is proposed that DMT and other endogenous hallucinogens mediate their neurological abilities by acting as neurotransmitters at a subclass of the trace amine receptors, a group of receptors found in the CNS where DMT and other hallucinogens have been shown to have activity. Wallach further proposes that in this way, waking consciousness can be thought of as a controlled psychedelic experience. It is when the control of these systems become loosened and their behavior no longer correlates with the external world that the altered states arise. Dr. Rick Strassman, while conducting DMT research in the 1990s at the University of New Mexico, advanced the controversial hypothesis that a massive release of DMT from the pineal gland prior to death or near death was the cause of the near-death experience, NDEE, phenomenon. Several of his test subjects reported NDE-like audio or visual hallucinations. His explanation for this was the possible lack of panic involved in the clinical setting and possible dosage differences between those administered and those encountered in actual NDE cases. Several subjects also reported contact with other beings, alien-like, insectoid, or reptilian in nature, in highly advanced technological environments, where the subjects were carried, probed, tested, manipulated, dismembered, taught, loved, and even raped by those beings. Basing his reasoning on his belief that all the enzymatic material needed to produce DMT is found in the pineal gland, moreover in substantially greater concentrations than any other part of the body, Strassman has speculated that DMT is made in the pineal gland. Currently, there is no published, reliable scientific evidence supporting this hypothesis. In the 1950s, an endogenous production of psychoactive agents was considered to be a potential explanation for the hallucinatory symptoms of some psychiatric diseases, as the transmethylation hypothesis. Though this hypothesis does not account for the natural presence of endogenous DMT in otherwise normal humans, rats, and other laboratory animals. In 2011, Nicholas V. Kazi of the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health concluded that INMT, an enzyme that may be associated with the biosynthesis of DMT in endogenous hallucinogens, is present in the primate rhesus macaque pineal gland, retinal ganglion neurons, retinal ganglion neurons, and spinal cord. In August 2012, Stephen Barker, Ethan McElhenry, and Rick Strassman developed a new method to measure the three known endogenous hallucinogens and their major N oxide metabolites in blood, urine, cerebrospinal fluid, oscular fluid, and or other tissues by using state-of-the-art liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, LC/MS equipment. For the first time in history, they were able to detect the DMT/N/oxide metabolite in blood and urine. Legal status. International law. DMT is classified as a Schedule I drug under the UN 1971 Convention on Psychotropic Substances, meaning that use of DMT is supposed to be restricted to scientific research and medical use. And international trade in DMT is supposed to be closely monitored. Natural materials containing DMT, including ayahuasca, are explicitly not regulated under the 1971 Psychotropic Convention. Australia. This section's factual accuracy may be compromised due to out-of-date information. As of February 2012, the Australian federal government was considering changing the Australian Criminal Code that would classify any plants containing any amount of DMT as controlled plants. Also, as of February 2009, the Therapeutic Goods Administration and federal authority made a motion to not reschedule DMT or DMT-containing substances, as they may still hold potential entheogenic value to native and or religious people. The final decision was to be handed down May 2nd, 2012. Canada. DMT is classified in Canada as a Schedule III drug. France. DMT, along with most of its plant sources, is classified in France as a stupefying narcotic. New Zealand. DMT is classified in New Zealand as a Class A drug under the Misuse of Drug Act of 1975. In the United Kingdom, DMT is classified in the United Kingdom as a Class A drug. In the United States, DMT is classified in the United States as a Schedule I drug under the Controlled Substance Act of 1970. In December 2004, the Supreme Court lifted a stay, thereby allowing the Brazil-based União do Vegetal (UDV) church to use a decoction containing DMT in their Christmas services that year. This decoction is a tea made from boiling leaves and vines, known as huasca within the UDV and ayahuasca in different cultures. In Gonzalez versus O Centro Esperada Beneficente União do Vegetal, the Supreme Court heard arguments on November the 1st, 2005, and unanimously ruled in February 2006 that the U.S. federal government must allow the UDV to import and consume the tea for religious ceremonies.